Yesterday I received a phone call from my doctor saying that I need to come back to do some additional testing on my mammogram. That was a little bit of a shocker for me, so I'm on my way this morning back to the doctor's office to redo my mammogram. They said they saw some calcification in my breast. It's nerve-wracking, but we'll see what they say. So I'm at the doctor's office. I just parked. My appointment is for 9 o'clock. I'm a little bit early, so I'm just going to go in and register myself. I am a self-pay patient, customer, whatever you want to call it. And I usually get a significant discount when I pay in cash. So I don't have medical insurance, so this particular thing that they're doing right now really kind of scares me because God forbid there's something actually wrong, then I do not have the money to do anything. I would just get billed for it and have to figure out how I'm going to pay for it. So I'm believing God, I'm praying that this is nothing. They say that calcification in the breast is something that's very normal for people who are in menopause stage in their life. Now, I will say that I think I'm in menopause because I haven't had a cycle since October, and now we're in June. October 2019, and now we're in June. So it could be a product of me, entering menopause. But I'm fairly young for a woman who's on menopause, who would be considered to be menopausal. I would consider myself premenopausal at my age, but they say menopause can happen anytime. So I'll be heading into the doctor's appointment. I'll be registering. I'll be getting the tests, and I think it takes a few days for me to get the results. So we'll see how it goes. Keep me in your prayers, y'all. So I just had my exam at the imaging center here, and it was the second mammogram to do a couple of more images of my right breast, and I don't know the results yet. They actually took the test, and then the imager, the person who took the images, said, "Oh, please come into this room and stay here while the doctor reviews the images." And I was freaking out because I just thought they were to tell me, "Hey, we'll send you the results," or "Hey, your doctor will contact you," and not have to send me into a separate room. So you can imagine the 10 minutes that I was in there, how confused, scared, panicky I was. Because can you imagine the millions of women who had to go through this or going through this, who right before they got the information that they had cancer, had to sit in anticipation of the results. So I am so scared. And they told me that they're going to send, she sent me into their room, and then minutes later she comes back and says, "Oh, your primary care physician will give you the results by Wednesday or Thursday. Today's Tuesday." So what does that mean? Does that mean that I'm clear? Does that mean that it wasn't anything bad, because they would, if it was something bad, they would have told me on the spot. I don't know. So will wait for the results from my doctor. I'll hear from them, and I'm praying that it's nothing. Um, I'm 46 years old, going to be 47 in September, and I'm a single mom. And I think about the care of my son on a daily basis, and I think about what would happen if something were to happen to me. But God is still faithful, and even if something did happen to me, I know my son will be taken care of. But it's still a very scary thing to be sent in for a second set of tests, especially as a woman with in menopausal stage. I just feel still a little nervous about it, but we'll see what happens. And the other thing I want to say is that I can't even begin to say this to my parents. My parents are in their 80s, and my mom is the biggest worrier in the world. And so I can't even utter that I had a second mammogram. I spoke to her last night, and I thought about saying something, but I know my mom, and I know she would not rest. My dad would not rest until they knew exactly what the results are. And I don't even know the results yet. I still have to wait 2 days. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wait until I get the results, whether it's tomorrow or Thursday. And then I will decide, depending on the results, what I will tell them. Because it will take them to their grave if they find out, let's say I was sick or something like that. So I will keep that information to myself until I find the results. So many women have to share this negative news about their health to their family members, to their husband, to their wife, to their brothers, to their sisters, to their mom and dad. And as a single parent, I can't imagine having to deal with something like this. It's really difficult for me to come to grips with. But I'm remaining prayerful. That's all we can do. I just wanted to follow up on the actual doctor's appointment that I had, the second mammogram that took place about a week and a half ago. The next day came, I didn't hear anything from my doctor. So on the third day, I decided to go into my chart. So when I go in there, I see that the results are there. And it says that I'm benign, there's no problem with my breast. But I just felt like a responsible doctor's office would have reached out to the patient to let them know, especially since it's the second exam, not the first, which is the regular exam, but it's a second exam trying to see if there's any indicator of cancer. So I was upset. So I sent this really sharp message to the doctor's office about how irresponsible it was for them to not contact me, that I've been worried for days, and is this what other patients go through when they have require a second exam to test something, that you guys just don't reach out and talk to them? Well, they sent me a message back probably within the hour or two, and just said, we're sorry, we're going to post the exam, and everything looks good. Which, when I think about it, it's still not good enough for me. I just feel like this is what women, especially women of color, stories I've heard of them having an issue with getting taken seriously when it comes to their health, when it comes to maybe something that they feel in their body, and they go to the doctor and say, hey, I have a headache, or hey, I have this pain in my body, and they just kind of brush it off. So my advice to you, women, single women, married women, women of color, is to be an advocate for yourself, advocate for your health, advocate for the importance of your health with your primary care physician, or whether it's another doctor. Be an advocate for yourself, because you don't want to be in a situation where you didn't speak up, or you didn't say something, you weren't persistent, you weren't in their face, and then it winds up falling on deaf ears and becoming the detriment of your life and your family. So it's very important for us to advocate for ourselves. So When I sent that message, I felt like I was advocating myself because they really responded quickly. Mind you, quickly meaning late, but quickly in a sense that they came back as soon as I came to them like with this issue. And so the other thing I wanted to mention, yes, I did tell you that the cancer, there was no cancer, everything is benign, everything is great. I'm so grateful to God that I'm healthy, I'm still okay. And I just have to make sure I get my mammograms every single year. Side note, and on the subject is, it was 5 years ago that I had my last exam, which is terrible. And I wouldn't advise that since I'm in my mid to upper 40s right now. I should be having my exam every single year. So I'm gonna make sure that I am very vigilant about that. The other thing I want to address is the fact that I mentioned in the video earlier that I don't have medical insurance. I am a self-employed person. I work for myself, I have my own business, and medical insurance is very expensive. Even if you work for a company, medical insurance is very expensive. Like for a family of 4, I can't even imagine. It's probably like a couple of $1,000s a month, if not a little bit more or less than that. For me, as a mother with my son, it would cost me like close to $8,000 a year to cover both myself and my son on a medical insurance. When I pay out of pocket as a self-pay person for myself and my son, we probably don't spend up to $2,000. We are happy that we are healthy. We don't have any medical issues. We don't have any medication we have to take, no prescriptions. Having the second mammogram scare, I should get medical insurance. And I'm thinking that for the next open enrollment cycle, which happens in November, December this year, that I will get some sort of insurance, because you just never know. You just never know what's going to happen, whether you're going to get hit by a car, whether you're going to fall off a building. I mean, you just don't know. So it's important for me to be covered. And even as a single mom, I think it's important for me to have my I's dotted and my T's crossed, because I never know whether I'm going to get like hit by a car and die. And so my son needs to be covered. And I think it's important for all of us as women, as single moms, to cover ourselves, meaning I have life insurance, I have a will. These things are in place in the event that something were to happen to me. So let me know if you have any questions. I know it's not a typical thing, but I'm sure there are tons of people out there who don't have medical insurance. And, let me know what you think. It is important to have medical insurance, but for me, or my family, this seems to work right now. It costs me less money to cover our expenses on a yearly basis versus the $7,000 to $8,000 it would cost me for medical insurance, in which I still need to meet at a deductible. Like, it's just outrageous. So I would love to know what you think. Leave me a comment below. I would love to hear your stories, what you think. Have you had a mammogram scare as well? If you have, I would love to hear your story. Let's lift each other up. Let's try to make this a forum for women to get advice and to hear, experiences, and to make changes and to improve upon ourselves. That's what we're here for, right? Well, thank you. I appreciate you coming here. If you really like what you've heard, or you like what you've seen, please subscribe. I'd appreciate it. My son would appreciate it. Anyway, we'll see you soon. Wait for that video next week. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, but I'll find something. This is my challenge. This is my daily challenge. This is my year challenge, really. And it's funny because in January, I wrote it down that I no longer want to operate in fear. And part of my operations in fear is not being able to speak my mind, to get up in front of a camera, to share my heart. So I'm trying to tackle it. And if you have any fears too, let's try to tackle it together. All right. Thanks, everyone. I really appreciate you listening. And until next time.